you're thinking about making the move to Long Island, but still commuting into the city, there's one thing that is going to impact your life way more than you probably realize right now, and that is your train commute. Honestly, I see buyers underestimate this all of the time. I see people fall in love with a house, then 6 months later, they realize that the commute is absolutely draining them because on Long Island, your relationship with the Long Island Railroad is something that becomes a part of your lifestyle. And trust me, not all commutes are created equal. Some towns make city access relatively smooth. Other towns can turn your workday into a marathon very, very quickly. So in this video, I want to break down some of the Long Island towns that offer the best LIRR access for city commuters, and more importantly, what the lifestyle in those towns actually feels like. Because commute quality, honestly, is something that changes everything because you do it every day. So the first town I want to talk about is Mineola. And honestly, Mineola is one of the most underrated commuter towns on the entire Long Island. What makes Mineola stand out is location. You're in central Nassau County, which means you're relatively close to New York City compared to deeper Long Island locations. But more importantly, Mineola is a major Long Island Railroad hub. That matters a lot because one of the biggest frustrations that commuters deal with is transfers and inconsistent train schedules. Mineola gives you strong train access and flexibility. Now, lifestyle-wise, Mineola feels very practical. It's not necessarily the flashy. It's not necessarily the flashiest town, but for commuters, convenience becomes extremely valuable over time, especially once the reality of commuting kicks in. The second town I want to talk about is Rockville Center, and honestly, Rockville Center is one of the most popular commuter towns for a reason. You've got strong Long Island Railroad access into the city, a very active downtown, great restaurants, bars, coffee spots. There's actually a lot of energy there. And that's important for a lot of former New York City buyers because one of the biggest fears people have moving to Long Island is feeling disconnected from all of the city activity completely. Rockville Center still feels very lively. And honestly, I think that combination of commute plus lifestyle is why demand stays so strong there. Now, obviously, buyers are not the only people who know this. Pricing can definitely reflect that demand, but from a commuter standpoint, it's one of the strongest setups that I see on Long Island today. The third town I want to talk about is Huntington. Now, Huntington is interesting because it offers something slightly different. You're further east than some Nassau County commuter towns, but you get a much different lifestyle overall. Huntington has one of the best downtown scenes on Long Island. You have a bunch of restaurants, you have shops, there's a lot of energy there. It's one of my favorite places to go for food and for things to do. And honestly, buyers moving from Brooklyn or the city, I think they would really appreciate Huntington. Now, commute-wise, you still have a strong Long Island Railroad access into Penn Station or Grand Central, depending on the route. And while the commute is a bit longer than Western Nassau, obviously many buyers feel the lifestyle trade-off is something that's worth it, especially people who want more space without giving up activity completely, which is why Huntington is one of my personal favorites. Another town buyers should absolutely consider is Babylon. So Babylon has become incredibly popular for commuters who want South Shore lifestyle plus train access. And honestly, it hits a really nice balance. You've got beach town energy, you've got marinas, you've got restaurants, and you've got a walkable downtown, but you also have direct Long Island Railroad access that works well for city commuters. And this is honestly where buyers start realizing something that is very important, which is the best commuter towns are not just about train times. They're about quality of life after work. Because if your town feels completely dead once you get home every night, that affects your happiness long term. So another area I wanted to mention is Great Neck, especially for buyers who want proximity to Queens and shorter commutes overall into the city. So Great Neck has For a long time been very attractive for commuters because of its location and strong railroad access. And honestly, buyers who work heavily tied to the city often end up looking there quickly. Now, with all that said, here is something really important that buyers need to understand. And that is there is no perfect commute on Long Island, okay? Doesn't exist. Every town involves trade-offs. Shorter commute often is going to mean, it's going to mean higher prices, smaller lots, more density. Going further east may get you more space, more house, more suburban lifestyle, but you're paying for it with time, right? And honestly, I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that I see buyers make. They focus entirely on maximizing house size without fully thinking about the emotional cost of commuting. Because trust me, a bad commute can absolutely affect your quality of life. Another thing that buyers underestimate is train station lifestyle itself. Parking availability, train schedules, transfers, how often trains run late at night. These things become very important once commuting becomes a part of your routine. And to be honest, I think buyers should spend almost as much time researching the commute as they do researching the house, because your daily routine is something that matters a whole lot. And at the end of the day, the best quote unquote, Long Island Railroad town depends entirely on what balance you're trying to strike, right? So, do you want shortest commute possible? Do you want more lifestyle and downtown energy? Do you want more house for the money? Do you want more suburban peace and quiet? Because every commuter town on Long Island trades off differently between those things. And the people who buy houses in Long Island that end up happiest are usually the ones who understand their priorities before they buy. So if you're someone who's thinking about making the move to Long Island and you want help figuring out which towns actually make sense for you and for your commute and for your lifestyle, feel free to reach out to me. All my information is down below. I'd be happy to help to point you in the right direction, and I'll see you in the next video.